Welcome to Between the Rig, a podcast hosted by Pushbox CrossFit. We're all about fitness and bringing you direct opinions wrapped in humor and a touch of, did they really just say that? We aim to help you understand more about coaching, gym ownership, and what it takes to get the most out of your fitness, mindset, and lifestyle, both inside and outside the gym. Let's get into it. All right, team, welcome back to Between the Rig, a podcast hosted by Pushbox CrossFit. And I am super duper pumped for today's episode for so many reasons. Mainly, we have a bunch of friends in the house and my wife, and she never likes being here. So this is a treat for everyone listening. Today, we brought a few friends on who are also owners of gyms themselves, and we thought it'd be a fun kind of different approach from what we usually talk about. It's usually like programming or nutrition or just things within like the fitness side of it, the athlete side. So we wanted to talk about things from our side of the line and our perspective on things. Dun, dun, dun.
Being an owner.
Good and times. That is my wife, co-owner Trysh. Hey, boo.
Sup?
That sounds about right. That's the excitement level we're going to get. So I'm going to quickly...
I'm only doing this because they're here.
Yes, not for me.
Yeah.
It's for Mike and Whitney.
I very easily say no to you all the time. So.
Yes, that is true. We'll talk about that later. So I just want to quickly go around to whoever wants to start and just kind of say like, hey, I'm me. This is my gym and this is where it is. And then we'll get you off the mic and back to our questions. And then we'll kind of have this be as an open discussion. So
yeah, this is free marketing, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Throw this out there.
Let's get after it.
Yeah.
I'm Whitney. I own Slate Strength Conditioning in North Seattle, Lake City neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds amazing. We had some comps there. We've done some comps
there.
together there.
The Great Slate.
Yeah,
the
I was
Granite
keeping
Games
track.
back in the day.
Oh, that
we
was
won.
a good one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was like, what,
you guys
3 weeks
almost
before
had
COVID?
your chance at
Oof.
being famous.
Yeah, we could have went to Minnesota and
I know.
competed, but the world shut down.
Yeah.
Yep. And this matching Viore gentleman.
Yeah, the uniform.
Yeah.
That's on point.
This is Viore ambassador over here.
I'm Mike Lyden. I'm the owner of Left Side CrossFit in the Central District in Seattle. We've been open for 43 days.
Oh my
and
God!
Counting.
Oh, it's like a new relationship. You're like, oh my God, we're in our like 1 month and 17 day like
Right.
anniversary. It's real.
I'd also like to
17
take full credit for your relationship with Trysh and you guys meeting. That is my introduction to Pushbox. Is like I manifested you two meeting and getting married evenally.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
That's my
I don't know
fun
if I've
fact.
really, yeah.
Because I knew you
I did
for a
not
few
know this.
years, and then I met you.
Yeah, let's
Oh.
quickly go on
I-
how we all maybe know each other or
I was
don't know
trying
each
when
other.
we were driving here. I was trying
Yeah.
to figure out like how you two haven't ever like connected like
Yeah, never.
through us. And I wanted to say that you might have both been at the comp that we hosted like a year and a half ago. Cause
Yeah.
somebody was, but anyway,
Yeah.
I
But
don't
then
think
you
guys
got
ran into
your
each
back
other.
flared up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tapped out of event number 1.
You're like, you know,
Good
what, second-
choice, good
second
choice.
thought,
Yeah,
fuck this. This is hard.
Yeah.
I'm sure somewhere. 'cause then
Anyway,
we
how
just-
do you know Whit?
Ooh,
Oof.
Vision Quest days.
Vision Quest. Back at the old Vision Quest gym I used to work at, Whitney was a personal training client.
I was. Someone told me that I should check Aidan out because he was a good trainer, and
Aw.
I know, and the rest is history.
So I don't know who's going to take that credit, but thank you to that person out there.
Haley Talbert.
Haley, fucking Haley, I
Yeah,
love it.
totally.
Yeah, it's crazy, small world. Because she messaged me, I was like, my son is playing on like Queen Anne Little League,
Yeah.
and because we sponsor a T-ball league, or team, not the whole league. And then
now I'm training her, so it's like full circle.
yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just found that out right now.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Yeah, for
And then we played in the same softball team for a season after the year
Yeah.
I played on it with Joe. the year
Yeah,
before.
I met Trysh first, you second.
Yeah.
I met Trysh through Joe, my partner, and Trysh worked
Hi,
together
Joe.
for 3 years, 4 years. something like that.
Oh,
You were rarely there. You work there.
Oh,
but,
come on
yeah.
now. I put my time in.
Yeah, right. But then I met you, and you and Trysh didn't know each other.
Right.
And I met you, and I think I went home and I said to Joe, I was like, we should set Trysh and Aidan up.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
no
think
shit, I
I
didn't
know
know
this
that.
story.
And Joe was like, Aidan's got a girlfriend or whatever. I don't know what this scenario was.
It was toxic.
But then I totally, I
that
manifested it
one.
because then I knew you were coaching.
Yep.
And I knew you were looking for a gym. And then
Yeah.
I didn't set up the gym meetup. But I remember when you first started, I
Yeah.
would like text you all the time, be like, "How was class? Was Aidan
was Aidan?"
coaching?"
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, total junior high in it.
Yeah, I totally wrote him off too. He was in apparently a toxic relationship, and everybody I talked to, because I would
Classic,
like
right?
inquire about him, they were like, "Oh, forget it." They're like off and on, but they're going to be together forever. And I was like, "All right, moving on."
Yeah.
Joke's on them. We're now together forever. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy because someone else you knew
Yeah.
me through a gym, and she also was like, you two would be perfect. So I'm glad we are following through on that. Yeah, so that was great. Thanks for that chat, guys. I want to just talk more, and anyone who has questions, just like throw them out there, because what I think is really cool about this is that we have different tenures of ownership, also through different periods of time. So when you've been in the ownership game longer and also had to kind of go through COVID, we've been in it kind of medium and kind of started in COVID. And then, as you
43
said,
days.
43 days if anyone's keeping track. But been in the industry,
Mike's,
as
like,
a
still here.
coach and an athlete for a very long time. So I think we all have like tenure in the sense of like we've been involved somehow or another. And I'm just very curious on some curiosities we have about how you both maybe handle things and decide things, and then a few of our members at least kind of threw out some questions that we'll try to sneak in there just for all of us to kind of more like general things, not like they don't know you individually, but just I like when other people have different perspectives we don't think about. So yeah, but
You didn't let me do my icebreaker game.
but that's what I was going to get to. Trish had some fun
We
little
need to break
icebreakers
the
because is this both of your first times on the old recording, the old
podcast?
podcasting?
Yeah.
I've never been on a podcast.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
Don't worry, only the
This
whole
is
world
what,
can see if
like-
they want to.
my third and last time.
I'll call them.
Yeah, I don't know. The first time I did it, I was like,
you have to do it again.
I don't know, like I don't know where to look. Like
Right.
where's the camera?
It's like Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands? You know,
yeah,
they're just floating out.
exactly. It is kind of weird.
All right, boo.
But
So
in
what,
any case, the hour flies by. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to just do a quick icebreaker to get you guys warmed up
Ready.
with the mic. So, just quick, rapid answers. Your favorite song / playlist to play during classes.
We listen to Purple Disco Machine all the time. I don't know if you know what that is.
Oh, like I was
Is
literally
that a
about to say that. as
play-
well.
Really?
Totally.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that a
that's like-
playlist or song
it's
or
like
what?
the DJ.
yeah, it's remixes.
Purple?
Purple Disco Machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of Lil Wayne.
On
Oh,
Spotify?
I love that.
Yeah, Lil
Or
Wayne
what?
on Spotify.
Okay.
have I
Thank
never
God
heard?
we have something new to listen
Big,
to.
big booty mix. That's what you're.
Oh, don't! Damn it!
Well, now that you brought it up, Whit, I would love to throw my hat in the ring for Big Booty
Oh
Man.
my God.
I'm not keeping track, but I think in 12 days, Big Booty 25 is
I
coming
was just
out.
gonna say what volume. Yeah.
25, and I'm just gonna slaughter the ears of our members on repeat with that. I've always
It's
been that way
obnoxious.
from a kid.
I
I'll like
cannot.
buy a CD from I don't know, like Tower Records, and then play song 3 and 7 on repeat until my parents are like, "You got to move out." I'm like, "But I'm in 4th grade." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Get out of here."
What was it? Now that's what I call music.
Yeah,
Is that what it
I
was?
just
Yeah.
wondering,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's- Yeah.
Volume
Who
1.
knows what
I've
volume they're
never
on?
heard of.
I
Okay.
think it's like 100 now.
Oh,
Yeah.
is
Purple
it? They're still
Disco?
doing it?
Yeah, I think it's triple digits.
Yeah, it's
The
got
now, yeah, Purple Disco. I've never even heard. Have I not heard of
There
this?
you go. That's
All
why
right.
we're doing
Thank
this.
you. Thank you for that question.
Favorite time of the day to coach or class time?
Probably like morning 9:30ish, 9:30 noon.
Yeah, noon. Noon for sure.
Noon people are dope. What about you?
I'm gonna say morning,
Okay.
but I'm coaching tonight. But don't worry, I'll bring the energy.
Morning, like early morning or like
Yeah, I
mid
think
morning.
you wake up at 4 a.m. You're like, why do I do this? And then you kind of roll around and wake up and eat something, have some coffee, and it doesn't usually take me long to just come in real hot, which is mainly entertaining for me because no one else. They're like, oh my God, why am I here? I'm like, hey, question of the day, bazinga. And they're like, calm down. I'm like, I can't. So I'm kind of ready to go. I don't know. Maybe it's like the whole, like, get it out of the way first thing.
Interesting.
You have all your fresh ideas and warm-ups and cues. You're not just kind of recycling things was the feeling of, but we also split shifts. So we're not doing like all one day.
Yeah. I find the first one's always the hardest though. So like if it's a second class in the morning,
Like you
got your
learn from
groove,
something.
you've got your setup. The first one's always tough.
You're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Question of the day was not a hit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How did
Switch
that
it
offend
up,
7
yeah.
people?
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least have a better answer to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest ick trait of a member, for example, like always being late to class or things of that nature. You don't have to name names, Mike. Just
Yeah, shoes on in the gym in the middle of the winter with everything they've tracked in.
oh, okay.
Oh, shoes on. I thought you said choose on.
No,
like,
shoes.
Pausing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they chewing on?
Yeah,
What?
just shoes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the shoes all over the gym floor when it's clearly terrible outside.
Oh, funny you bring
Praise.
that up.
High
Yeah.
needles, dirt clumps.
Everything.
Yeah, you're just like,
Everything you
we
could have
got a
stepped
side
in
story about
on the
that,
way.
but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I think it's just people that aren't aware of what they track in or clean up after themselves, just not aware that this isn't their home, or maybe
Yeah.
their home doesn't even look this bad, but they just know someone will clean it up.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
You had one in mind, or it wouldn't have been a question.
Oh no, I was
Dang,
just.
Mike is ready to go.
I mean, I think the probably easy answer for me is kind of similar, like cleanliness or not picking up after yourself, because I'm so like OCD about everything. I think since I don't coach and I just kind of watch all you guys coach, and like watched from afar, I think probably people just kind of like chatty and having their like own conversations like while you're trying to like explain the workout or what the plan is for the day, because then you got to do it 10 more times. And we don't got time for that.
Yeah, I'd say I'll probably piggyback off that and elaborate a little more from the coach's side. It's because it's a double-edged sword, because the beauty of it all is you get to see your like relationships of strangers genuinely come together, and now they're doing happy hours without like
100%.
us setting it up. It's like, oh, there's actual friendships.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want them to come in and just literally say nothing or smile or have fun. I would say it's the individuals who kind of are behaving like the equivalent of that kid we all knew in like middle school or high school who thought like every second of every minute of every hour was a stage for them to just be loud or not be aware of like the impact they're having on the social groups. There's kind of like jokes and like banter, and then the coach starts to speak, and then it's like, oh, hold on, like let's pick that up. And then that's fine. I think it's like it's a hard balance to say like we're here for you all, but we're not all here for you specifically. And that's a fine line to walk. It's like you're one of many here. We are aware that you have good days and bad days, and this can be a stress relief. This could be whatever you're coming to our gyms for. It's for a real reason. But the whole class clown, being really loud, being insensitive to like the surroundings and people who are just unaware of the impact they have, I'm like, dude, we're adults here. Like, snap into it. Because now you're putting kind of someone on the spot to like have to deal with it, and like that's always uncomfortable.
And you're taking away from other members as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's probably mine.
Okay. Last one, just to keep the ball rolling. Pooping in the gym, yay or nay?
Like me or the members?
The members, you can do whatever you
Oh
want.
my
You
God,
own
as
it.
soon as everyone leaves in the morning coffee. Yeah. So it's a ritual at this point. Yeah, I'd say yes for sure. Like, have you ever had pre-workout and it's just like not a good scenario? Like,
Yeah, like release the hounds.
yeah.
Like something
It's
digested
just like
wrong.
I feel, I feel happy that they feel comfortable going in right before.
Oh, that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you
I
an
mean,
anti-pooper in the gym?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think obviously it depends on kind of like your layout of the gym. You know, like some people's bathrooms are actually outside of the gym or whatever. Our bathroom is very close to where
Yeah.
everybody else is. And we have 2 bathrooms upstairs, which we've offered numerous times, guys. So like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
number 1 downstairs, number 2 upstairs. I mean, obviously I understand that like nature calls and stuff, but sometimes I feel like people like purposely like,
Save it.
yeah,
for the
like
gym.
save it until you get to the gym.
Yeah, like they're like long conning us. They're like, watch this. I'm like, I
gonna
mean,
get my
joke's
money's
on me,
worth.
I guess. I don't know. I'm still going to start the clock.
Yeah.
And now it just kind of smells in here.
Yeah.
Are you pro or anti-poopy?
I mean, if you have to poop, you have to poop. I'm
Yeah.
not-
Your situation's nice, though.
Yeah,
Your
we're
gym.
kind of
Yeah,
around the
that's what
side.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
You
for
have a
sure.
good setup.
Yeah, ours is almost, you might as well just put it right in the middle of the floor. It's like someone's doing a squat right outside your door. Like, what was that? You're like, nothing.
We even have a squatty potty in our gym, so it's-
You do?
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Good
Yeah.
habits.
All right, get into the grimy stuff.
Oh.
Everybody's comfy now.
Okay, I am curious about, I think, just the decision about, all of us started, at some point we're like, hey, I have an idea, we should buy into or open or run or manage, or on the leadership side and management side of owning a small business. Not just like a CrossFit gym, just like a gym and a small business. I think all of you 3, besides myself, came from a different line of work. And I'm just very curious, what was that kind of like either YOLO moment or fuck this, or did something happen in personal life? Was it like exhaustion somewhere else, or not necessarily, just a passion truly was growing and that eventually outweighed the potential other fill in the blank from that side of your life? Because you were at what, Amazon, you were at Zillow, you were Boeing.
Yeah.
I mean, these are real, I mean, you know those names. You don't have to just be like
Those
Seattle
are heavy
based.
hitters. Yeah,
right?
they come with benefits.
And I was at Vision Quest. No. Personal training, Whitney, through those times of discussion. So do you kind of remember the general, like, it's Tuesday, it's 8:48 p.m. and I just said, fuck it, I'm going for it.
I mean, I was working at Boeing full time and then like transitioning into coaching at Slate a couple hours a week, probably like 8. And I started getting kind of exhausted. And then, yeah, like
doing both or just?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
And Boeing sucked, honestly, for me at least.
Don't listen
sorry.
to this,
Yes.
Boeing.
Sorry, Boeing.
Yeah, I had to reject their sponsorship, so.
I think I just needed more something that I was passionate about, and that was coaching. And it was more when I first started at Slate, it was more of a community building for me, not necessarily like coaching. And I started coaching. I was like, oh, I really love this. This is like really fun. And yeah, life happened. Some life things happened, and I just started full time at Slate. And like the rest is history. I'll never look back. It's like the best decision I've ever made career wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so was there any point that you were like, I can make a livelihood coaching, or you're like, I want to like double down even more?
Yeah, it was double
And like,
down
here's
even
some
more.
investment money. I want to take the responsibility of this.
Yeah.
Was it just because you saw from this seems to make more financial sense, or like, I want to be a part of the reason why we have a certain culture and reputation, and I want to take the responsibility of that?
Yeah, I think I wanted to build more of a like the culture that I believe in. Like Slate had a great culture, but it was like I wanted to show more of like what I could provide, and also just full investment, right? Like if I fully invested myself into something, then you can grow it.
Now you have to take it serious.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so this might be a fresh line of thought, just because
it
this
was
is
like
newer.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 43 days ago.
Yeah. Mine was definitely like midlife crisis for sure. I mean, I'd worked in like cubicle jobs for 15 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
But 8 years at Amazon. I think like post COVID 2021 was like, all right, like what's happening in life? I kind of disappeared. I went to Switzerland for 3 months and hiked around, and was like, came to the realization that like if something's ever going to happen in my life, I have to do it. I can't just like wait for it to happen. And so came back, and then I think from there I was like, I'm going to milk Amazon for every penny to like fund this.
Yeah.
And that worked great. I mean, Amazon's a tough place to work, but like financially it's a great opportunity, and it's like helped me build it. So I'm grateful, but would never work a single day there ever again.
Yeah.
But it started with coaching too. Like Whitney was saying, like, you know, you're building community when you coach, and like sometimes your voice may not be heard and you want to have a bigger impact and like steer things in a certain direction, and you can't do it fully as just a coach.
Yeah.
And so when you want to make those changes, it's like you have to take ownership, and with that comes risk. And then you have those fun discussions with your partner. Sorry, Joe.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
it's not a red Corvette, it's a gym.
Yeah. I remember we were like going to fix the porch on the front of the house, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to quit Amazon and open the gym. And Joe's working at Zillow, and then he unfortunately got laid off, and then I decided to open a gym, and we're like, well, we're not having a new porch for 10 years.
We're going to keep that hole there.
So,
yeah.
Just put a rug over it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I asked permission. He said yes.
Nice.
That's basically how it went.
Yeah. Hey, boo, do you mind if I...
Yeah, exactly.
What about you?
Well, I think just to kind of add to what you were saying, because I think all of us kind of worked in that like tech world before, or corporate jobs or whatever. And I think even like the funniest thing about being an owner is like, obviously there's days, I mean, maybe day 27 for you, I don't know. There's days where you're like, fuck this, like everything's going wrong, or everybody's driving me crazy, or you know, but like even on like the worst day of owning a gym, I think all of us would easily say like, I would never go back to the previous life. Like, this is still totally worth it. Like, did I think I was going to be like a fucking janitor at age 40? No, but like I would much rather sit there and like mop the floor of
Clean
the
the
gym
toilet
and
than-
community that we own than like work for someone else and just kind of like my soul is just like dying a little bit more every day. So I think same kind of like similar thing as like you guys. Like, I was at Zillow for a long time, and Aidan was always coaching and doing PT, and it was just hard. COVID was hard. You know, you got like more and more and more responsibility put on you, and none of the kind of like recognition or appreciation for it. And I think especially being like stuck inside and realizing kind of like, you know, about life, and you only have one chance and all that kind of stuff. You and me were just kind of like, you know, fuck it, let's see if this works, and if it doesn't. And I also tell this to a lot of like current members and people, like, those corporate jobs will always fucking be there. Like, if this doesn't work out for any of us, like, we can always go back, or we can always find a job in like the previous field that we are in. But it's like, why not take that chance and like trust yourself and like jump 100% into like this thing that you love doing, and at least do it for like a portion of your life if you can. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Ooh, real answers. It's yeah. I think I saw very early on, if you want to make this a livelihood, because I came from a different perspective. I remember my first day going to Vision Quest. Someone was sick. They're like, "Can you run the boot camp?" I was like, "Sure." Yeah, where's the bathroom, by the way? You know. And then like 2 days later, like it happened again with a different instructor, because it was like a different type of class, but in the same room. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, okay, how can I actually make like a livelihood off this? I like doing this. I like helping people. It's fun to be in Lulu. At the time, that was like the main thing to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like matching Viore. God, sponsorship, come on. But I'm like, okay, let's just take all the emotion and all that. Like, how do I actually look at the data and like, can I make a livelihood off this? Where's the floor? Where's the ceiling? And as a trainer, you're kind of like, God, if 3 clients go out of town who average twice a week, that's 6 sessions. You look at that, 40% off of 100, whatever the setup of the gym is at the time. You're like, you just see the numbers there. And so I think early on, I realized like, you can't just do classes. You could do a lot of PT, but it's nice to maybe get a mixture. But I think mine was eventually like, I think I could be good at this. This was before meeting you, but it's scary. Like, I think if I look back upon, like, I'm a pretty confident person, but I think if I was honest with myself, I'm like, it's scary to make that decision and be like, okay, I'm good at coaching, but you're good at everything else. Or how do you do this? Or like, what's insurance? And how, like, it almost got overwhelming. I'm like, or I will not, and maybe look at this next Monday.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of keep my routine going. And like years went by, but I did think like you said, if you see issues with something, you can complain about it, or you can suggest things, and maybe that works. And then in the times it does not, you're like, then maybe I need to step up here. And that can be scary, because then you're just the next person who thinks they're doing it right, who could just be a fuck up or doing things wrong or rudely or whatever it is. I think mine was both kind of like, I want to, I think I can. It's like, where's the growth in this industry? I don't just want to be a personal trainer forever, and just kind of like the next challenge. But yeah, good answers. Let's keep it rolling. I'm just curious about this, mainly because I think we all have different levels of responsibility within. Like I say, I'm co-owner because Trish and I are both doing this equally, and I'm just very curious. There's so many more elements, from administration to programming to janitorial work to coaching to PT to just being the financial person. Like there's a lot of different owners out there that probably wear a lot of different hats. Maybe you're co-owners, all that. If you had to keep one responsibility, which one would it be? And that could be because like you're naturally good at it, you think no one else can do it better, you're passionate about it, and you just want to like selfishly be like, oh, I want that. And like you give the tasks. Because I always kind of say with our powers combined, I think we do a great job, because it's very convenient for us. We happen to, I think, do the other stuff that the other person does not want to do or like to do. So I was just curious if you're...
So we're keeping one aspect and giving away the rest?
Yeah. Like if you had to now say, Tina, you're in charge of this. Phil, you're in charge of this. I'm going to keep this. Social media, social event organizing, administration, payroll, like all these things.
So we have this thing called the Elements course, and it's anyone that's new to functional fitness or like what we do at Slate that has to go through it, and it's like 3 to 4 sessions. And I personally do that, and it's something that I want to keep forever, because I teach them everything that we do there. It's not like super complicated, right? It's kind of dumbed down a little bit.
Them as in like your...
That person that
newer members.
Members, yeah.
Coming on.
And it's just a way for me to kind of like feel their vibe and like set the tone for our vibe of the gym. So it's something that I would always want to keep.
So you kind of want that first ability to meet someone.
Yeah, totally.
So is it because you trust in yourself that like, they should like me, like this will be a first good introduction, but also you're kind of seeing if they'd be a good match for the culture? Or
someone asked me if I've never been like, no, you cannot proceed with like attending
you
Slate
suck.
Access denied.
That hasn't happened yet. But yeah, it's
close calls though. I know you've had close calls.
Yeah, totally.
like, listen, you are one strike away. Well, welcome to our gym.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's more just like, setting the tone and the vibe, trying to make them comfortable.
Okay.
It's kind of like intimidating walking into a gym space.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
And I think making people comfortable is important.
And more one that's kind of like in our more smaller business, because it's so community driven that you can kind of get lost in LA Fitness and you don't care. Like maybe it's intimidating to be next to someone who's just like a beefcake, but like you don't really interact. You're not supposed to. You don't have to. In our settings, you kind of should. And you're next to like 12 other people in class and you're like, hi, what's your name? Do you like crunchy or smooth peanut butter? And you're like, oh, I need to speak.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you?
For me, it's interesting because the one I'd keep is very much like the social organizing aspect of it. I love introducing people to each other.
I see you guys are doing a bike ride soon.
We are.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's an unsanctioned gym event because you'll be drinking on it. So and potentially riding a bike at the same time. Okay. So a group of friends and I who also go to the gym
who happen to be
will be riding bikes to some breweries. It's also like, organizing those events is what I was doing when I was coaching at the other places I've been. And so it's like naturally I love bringing people together, barbecues at the house, like, ski trips, float ups, like all those things like that. I just really like seeing people who maybe wouldn't meet outside of like a fitness place or a CrossFit gym or wherever, kind of getting together and hanging out and becoming friends. And so I would 100% keep that. I think the challenge there is like you were saying, like you'll see them and they're hanging out without you. It's
Like,
like
what the
you're
fuck?
cleaning the toilet and they're posting on Instagram and they're hanging out. And I'm like, I introduced you to
Glad
my
you're having
class.
fun.
Yeah,
Great, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, with my best buddy. You're
Killing
like,
it,
why don't
yeah.
you put the seat down?
Exactly. But it's weird because I would actually give up. I am terrible with like social media because I liked for it to be in person. Like the digital aspect of it is not, I don't relate to it. Like I don't like creating content. I don't like, videoing people at the gym for like social purposes. It's super important and it's needed, but it's just like I would rather have like that connection with them in the moment or like at a social event than do it like online. And it sucks because that might be the number one like most important way to acquire new members and to like set vibe and things like that. And it's just like, for me, it's like, you've seen my Instagram. I take pictures of like trees. Like it's not like
Welcome to
it's
our
like, there's
friend.
no
God,
people
can
in
I
it.
tell
It's
you
like-
really quick? The last time we dropped into your gym, we went with Joe, your partner, to get like barbecue after or whatever, and we're walking outside of your gym and just talking about how like beautiful the landscape is outside on the sidewalk, and I was like, dude, that should be how you sell people. Like, look
The
at these
plants.
trees we have.
Yeah.
Like,
We take care of our shit inside and outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm not surprised he was into like the
oh my
garden.
gosh, he's
Yeah.
such a little gardener.
Right,
Well, that can be.
totally.
If we're gonna do pros and cons probably later, so that can be your con is the social media.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm sure everybody's going to guess cleaning, duh, because I love to clean. But I would say
Do you love to clean or do you not trust other people to clean to your standards? 'Cause I think
all
two
of the
separate
above.
things.
All of the above. You vacuum like you don't know where you're going. Like there's a process.
She is recently, though,
But anyway.
almost 3 years into Cohen, and hits me with where are you going with that?
Oh
I'm
my
like-
gosh, because there's a process.
Do you do
So
like
I'm not
mat-
gonna
mat
say-
by mat?
I'm not gonna.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
like quadrants.
Yeah, no, for
obviously.
sure. Okay, I'm glad we're on this. You don't know about that, do you?
Yeah, you know about, you
I
don't know about
apparently
the
go like
quadrants.
east to west. She goes north to south. She's like, "What are
It
you
makes-
doing?" Like,
It
but it
makes
gets
no
done.
sense.
It's just the journey's different.
I love
Anyway, I
that.
guess I could contract out cleaning. So I would say I'm going to lop together communications as far as like emails and chatting and setting people, I guess not setting people up because that would probably be a different category. But I think just from like previous jobs and just how like crazy organized I am and stuff, like it drives me crazy when things aren't like organized and pre-planned and I don't feel like people know all the information that they're supposed to. So like I think it's very important to always kind of like let your members know firsthand before you do anything, before you like paint a wall or add a coach or this or that. Like this is their gym too, and they need to know about these changes so they feel like they have a voice or can add an opinion. And so I think I take like our communications very important, even though nobody reads my emails, but that's okay.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
I was gonna say, how do you get people to read your emails?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
They're
she
like,
shames them. She's like,
unsubscribe.
"Hey, clearly you've not read the fucking email."
Oh my gosh,
That's a good way to go about it. For
I
sure.
posted
Hey, man.
like a week or two
Gotta
ago
love when they
about
call people out.
something, and literally within like 3 minutes, one of our members, Pervy, was like, "Oh, what time does it start?" And I was like, "Literally, it's on the flyer." Like,
So, Pervy, if
honey.
you're listening thinking that was going to be a positive call out, spoiler, you just got regular call out.
So anyway, communications are important. Yep.
Yeah, it's not a line I say just to look like a loving husband. Like, I always say, like, she's the glue that holds the gym together. And
Barf.
there goes that usual response of me saying something nice. But it is important. You'd be surprised the amount of times, because it says Aidan at Pushbox Fitness, but we both have access to it, and really should be Trysh at Pushbox Fitness.
Nobody wants to manage 2 emails, guys.
No, but
So it's just 1 email.
the amount of times we get back, like, I'm super happy that you responded to me so quickly, because one of us will try to get on. I think it's the little things you don't think about in the moment people appreciate. You're like, "Oh, but I got this new Rogue dumbbell." And they're like, "I just needed to know if I could drop in. Thank you for saying yes in 5 minutes." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense too. Now you can actually come to experience our Rogue dumbbell."
Yeah, I love the hustle of responding to emails.
Yeah. I think
It's
a lot-
kind of like the ball's in your court
It-
kind of thing.
yeah,
And I
totally.
don't want it to be in my
Yeah.
court.
No, I know
So, like,
exactly.
whatever,
Keep it moving.
pickleball it
All right.
away,
Yeah.
you know, to the other side.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would assume I would say programming, but I think I love it for the sake of like curiosity and like putting things together. It's always like reshuffling things. I'm always like, oh, that would be good. But I think if it is not articulated well in person or coached well and it was not explained well, I think any programming can just be like lost on people. And so I think I am probably best served to be in front of you as a human than like behind the scenes, for better or for worse, with some of my cues and whatnot. I want to be, I guess, a tone setter with like, hey, this is what we expect of you. Hit the fucking standard. This will be awesome if you can do 5 unbroken. Let me explain why it's written this way. And then if it doesn't go well, either we can really assess it together or I could take the responsibility. But if I just kind of put it on someone else, I write this beautiful thing and it gets butchered, it's not really a beautiful thing anymore.
How do you work on that with like your coaches? Do you have like sessions where you review like their presentation of the workout?
Wow.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes, I want this back and forth.
Throw it out there.
Yeah, so I think maybe all of us do or have. They're pretty much all similar, but in Sugar Wild, there's also like the coaches' notes. So I will not only write things in coaches' notes, and we will also talk about expectations in coaches' meetings. Yeah, a lot of it is just kind of like, hey, how'd it go this morning? Like, were they able to get the average of 3 rounds? It's like, only 3 people did, everyone else didn't. And I kind of, okay, why? Did you explain it this way? Are they not listening? Was the stimulus, so it's, I think the issue can be a lot of people, especially coaches, who are not like, this is their main thing, have the potential of seeing this as a hobby and still not a job and a professional thing. And so from top down, holding them to that standard without feeling like you're micromanaging them or like shaming them, because there's cues I'll say them like, oh, that didn't work. Or, warm-ups like that lasted too. Like, we're always learning. There's no like, you're perfect. But it's clearly communicating. You don't need to be mean about it or angry about it. You can have candor about it and just being direct with your coaches. Like, we need this to happen. And so if you see someone falling off pace because their ego chose RX, you need to essentially say, I'm scaling you, but not because I'm shaming you or I'm trying to take away a good workout. It's like, I've seen this before. I know this movie's going to end and it's not going to go well for you. I need you to hit 5 rounds. You're on pace for 1.5. And then just kind of being like coaches, like also like we're paying you our money to execute this. Yeah. So if I'm not here, then you need to be here. And if you're not here, then I need to hold the standard. So I think that's an important, and I'm hypersensitive to that because the previous gyms, especially the last one I came from, the amount of, and it's flattering in the moment to your personal ego, but then you start to take a step back and realize the bigger issue at hand is when people start saying, I want to go to that person's class, I think you're in trouble. Unless they're just so like, I love that big booty mix or purple
disco machine.
You got it. Right? Like, I love Mike's humor, but that's just a personal preference, but they also know they'll get the same quality across the board, then sure, let them have their human preference. But I think if they're like, gosh, that coach is bad, or they don't seem to care, or they're always on their phone, then I think you have a bigger issue, because that's one of the things that was hard for me to get used to, but to kind of take a step back from always being the visual or the face, I wanted that to be kind of dispersed amongst everyone. So it's just having direct communication with your coaches and not just assuming they're always doing well, but doing check-ins. I need to get better at it. I'll see it because I have some overlapping PT, but to take more classes. Yeah. All of our other coaches take classes as well as just like people who need fitness and that fits their schedule. So they probably have more opinions and visuals on me and the other coaches. I'm always just kind of around in one way, so I see it, but it could be improved on my end. Yeah. How do you guys do that?
We're 43 days in. I coach 95% of the classes.
So I don't know if it's shit or not.
Mike leaves himself a note for the next class.
Mike, you could have done better, buddy.
I definitely self-evaluate, but it's more deprecating than your delivery sucked on that one.
I will say
Joe needs to offer you more praise then.
I don't want it. No. Oh. If he takes coach's feedback, then I'll take his member feedback. And until then, Joe, I can say this, can keep his mouth shut.
I will say it cracked me up, and I've told the story now probably twice in 2 separate classes. When we came in to do the class at your gym and you were coaching, and you're like, well, I tried one of your cues the other day. I was like, ooh. which one? He's like, well, you're like the taint swinger. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You went right for the top shelf.
I came in hot.
Oh
yeah.
God. How did people respond to that?
You know, confusion.
I got some emails.
What would be one of the things you'd want to give away as, so if that's the one you could keep, which one are you like, if I can never do this again, I'd be super happy?
Probably with you on social media. It's just like daunting. Like, where do we start? How do we make it hip? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
I've gone down a fucking rabbit hole. She's like, what is this purchase? I'm like, it's this new app and the filters. I feel like I'm making a music video for some up and coming artists and you can't even see people working out. I'm like, but did you see the transition?
I'm not going to lie. I asked you what app you use to make your videos. I downloaded it. I spent 5 minutes on it and I was like,
This is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
I'll sit down. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah,
But it's,
maybe not. I deleted it. Yeah.
Send me the things. I'll make them for you.
Yeah, right.
So no social media. Yeah, it can be a lot.
I like some of it, but not too much of it. It's just like, you know, I feel like I'm never doing enough on it. I feel like there could be more. It could be better. It's like something I'm just not super confident in.
Yeah.
Did you settle on like you do member photos and pictures
We have like a
or
member
like
of
announcements?
the month
Cool,
and
yeah.
like competitions, cute dog pictures. I don't.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Like
People
hard
respond
to-
well
yeah.
to those.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have an idea like that, but then you got to stay up on it. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
member of the
And then
week. You're like 3 weeks. You're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
I like 3 members. That's it. No, that's how it
No,
looks,
totally
right? You're like,
not.
God, I forgot to do this. It was every Tuesday, and now it's fucking Thursday. And then you're like, next idea. That could be hard. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, it's
That was the
definitely
social media, yeah.
social
Yeah.
media for sure. I've landed on just like pictures of people is enough. Like they want to see themselves working out and like see their friends and buddies.
Not this one.
working
She was
out.
not happy with that photo you posted.
Oh,
Oh, you
Mike.
look. Did you see how perfect your form was?
It was
Your
great.
shoulders were. It was perfect.
Okay.
Shoulders back and down, flat
No
back.
comment.
I'm like, hey, you're posted. She's like, oh, great.
I tried. Are you on Instagram?
I wrote
No.
a Yelp review about you.
Yeah. Well,
No,
can't-
I will
you can't
never
I
be
find
on
her.
didn't even tag
Instagram.
you. I had
She's
to
on
tag
social media.
Pushbox.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, then you can't complain.
So I'm very curious. Again, like, it's very easy to kind of get lost in time here. I think culture is a big word you hear within gyms, especially privately owned ones. And I always kind of, the culture, it's funny, it's different from gym to gym, but like thrusters are thrusters and wall balls are wall balls and, you know, rowing concept 2 is the same machine, yet it's amazing how different the experience can be. And I always kind of use the comparison of, you know, like the McDonald's are franchised. No one knows who owns the one located on the corner of blah, blah, blah. But you know you're going to get the same golden crispy fries and like number 3 is number 3. And so you probably don't want to have a bad experience with the clerk on the other end. But if anything, you're like, whatever, this is delicious, or I'm in and I'm out. But you don't get that on our side, as regardless if you're an official CrossFit affiliate or not. It's the movements in theory are the same, they should be, but like it can wildly depend on, did you feel welcome, was the coach nice, are the members good, what playlist is being repeated, how do they coach the thruster, like. And so how do you, because we've all been in here for different kind of lengths of time, where do you kind of take the accountability and the onus and responsibility from the top down to create a culture? Do you have an ideal culture? I'm sure all of us at different points in time, and probably always, you this is still a business. So you're looking at the back end, the financial sides, and so you're always kind of like you mentioned, you've luckily not been in a situation you've had to like say, you're not gonna fit here, because on paper it's like rejecting money, but it's also the balancing the culture of the gym is almost more important.
Well, I feel like it's like the culture that you create. It's like, for me, it's, I want everyone to feel welcome and like accessibility for everybody. And the people that maybe came through the doors and you thought, I'm not sure I really want you around, they kind of weed themselves out eventually because of that culture that you like create.
Yeah, I guess like, because right now you're in the newer stage, you're probably like, yes, 38 members, yes, 39 members, yes, 102, whatever it is. But at some point, we all kind of hit at least that worst case, but at least number that like net neutral. So now we can breathe a little bit. That when does that tipping point start to be like, I how do you deal with that? Do you actually say no to someone? Do you have private conversations? Do you do things more in the background, like I'm going to always kind of play this music or only post about certain type of topics or, things like that? Because it's amazing how wildly different it is. That can easily create a good or bad experience for someone who's first trying out a gym that's like ours.
Yeah, same thing. When he was just saying, like, inclusivity is the big thing for us from a culture perspective. And, like, I don't know, deep topic for me, but as like a gay dude in CrossFit, there are some gyms you go into and you're just like, fuck this place. Like, I can't be in this place. I don't feel safe in this place. So we hit people with like name and pronoun right away. And if you can't like come to the table with that, it's kind of like a red flag for us. Even in a space where I need members to like break even, like get me to the black, it's like, if that makes you uncomfortable, then this might not be the right place for you. We've got pride flags, we got Black Lives Matter flags. We're in a historically black neighborhood, and so we put it up, we plaster it all over the website. We make sure we're holding members accountable to being inclusive, like inclusive language. We don't talk about bodies in the gym. Like, that's a new thing, and it's tough in fitness, right? It's like there's like an ideal body type, or like you're striving for a particular body type. It's like, so you set the tone with coaches. Like, we don't talk about other people's bodies. Like, all shapes and sizes can move with ideal movement. It's like, so we get really heavy right away. And if like you can't handle it, it's like you weed yourself out.
Yeah.
So
and
it's not even like you have a conversation. It's just like, this is how we do it, and if it makes you uncomfortable, you'll probably make your own decisions before I have to for you.
And I almost like I want people to be comfortable coming in, but if you're uncomfortable with that conversation, like, I actually don't care if you're comfortable in here. You have plenty other spaces in the world where you're comfortable.
Yeah, totally.
Go have them. Like, have them all. This place is for us.
Have either of you had kind of like a difficult conversation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. How'd that go?
Yeah.
No
They're not at the gym any longer.
Yeah. I think a lot of times you need to hold your ground on that as an owner, because it does start from the top down, especially in a smaller space. And I think a lot of the times people love throwing their suggestions on what you think you should do or how you should run things, and I always relate. I feel like owning a business, owning a restaurant, and like programming to cooking. Apparently I'm my mom's son here, but it's kind of like, if you are so passionate about like, we are going to like serve pizza and wine and that's it. It's going to be the best. We're going to make sure it's great quality. We're going to make sure you don't start compromising things just because. I think a lot of people threaten like, oh, they don't take my membership somewhere else, or it's money. Ooh, don't you want this? And they wave in front of your face. I'm like, yes, but not for this. Like, you don't actually have power over me with that. You know what I mean? Like, and if we're relying upon one membership, then I would say as an owner, is like, you're fucking up somewhere else anyway. And so to kind of hold your ground that, no, I'm not now just going to like ignore this that I'm very passionate about, or that we believe in as a culture. No, I'm not going to also like sell beer and tacos just because you want it. Like, this is what we have. Trust me when I say it's going to be awesome. You like it or you don't. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you want to take feedback too, right? Like, you want, if so, it's like almost the first test, right? Like, and if people pass like the test that is like your principles and like your almost your morality, I hate to like bring that into like a gym space, but like, what's really at the core of like what's most important, if they're good there, then I'm like, I'm receptive to your feedback on programming, on pricing, on events, on how to be more inclusive. Like, and we're not perfect, right? I'm a white dude. Like, there's so many things I have to learn in Seattle as like a business owner, especially in the neighborhood that I work in. And it's like, you want to be receptive to those, but I'm receptive to those from people who share like principles and like, and once you get past that, I think you can do really cool things and like make sacrifices, but not sacrifice that core.
Because I'm sure we're all, just based on who we are, lacking some perspective or awareness from different. And so you need to be open to that, and you want to encourage, hey, yes, please, either like, not necessarily educate me, but bring it to my attention, because like, this could have been just like oh my gosh, like I didn't even. But I've noticed it's easier to receive that from people who are invested into the community, have their own personal principles you kind of respect as just a human being. This was asked, so I kind of want to throw this question out just because we're kind of on this topic. And the question I was sent was, at what point do you sacrifice community over profitability / sustainability, or vice versa?
community is more important to me than the growth, because that community is what like got us through COVID. It's like that is our growth, you know, for me.
So no sacrifice.
What do you mean by
Yeah,
that question?
like-
I don't know. I was given that, so it wasn't my brain to give.
Yeah.
I think I would imagine.
But are they trying to say, like, you know, we're willing to, like you just said earlier, like willing to take anybody in just to be able to grow, like without them having the same values? Like,
I mean, leave it to me to use an extreme example. I guess it's like, would I keep a pedophile in the gym for like 205 pre-tax? No, like you need to, I think, have your lines in the sand that you draw, and you need to have the ability to have tough conversations sometimes. And that could be a simple private message, a talk outside. I don't think you need to blow it up in front of everyone, unless if it's like immediately like, oh my gosh, you just said something that's like effed up, fill in the blank person. I need to at least address this, and I need everyone else to see that I'm willing to address this. Because it's hard. You have like hundreds of individual humans. Like, you're not all going to get along.
I wish.
Or,
What
do you mean hundreds?
you have like double-digit members. Okay?
Dozens, hundreds,
yeah.
whatever. You can't expect everyone to agree upon the same thing and think the same way and vote the same way and move the same way and believe the same way. But yeah, I think it's important to set that culture of like, be you, but be aware the second you come in here, it's not just you. And like, you're here to train, you're here to work out. Like, let's not overthink it. And if you cannot kind of, you know, essentially, minus maybe a few topics that I think everyone should agree upon, but that's another conversation, kind of like be there for that reason and accept other people are different, but like be accepting of that, just like you want to be accepted of yourself. It's hard because you want to balance that ecosystem very.
Yeah, and I think too, like, you have to be open to the community evolving with the membership. It can't be what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, members own, like you had said earlier, you're like, it's everyone's gym, right? Like, members own the community just as much as you do. You can try to steer,
Yeah.
and you can have it set like in like a core principle, but or principles, and you should, I feel, but like, members are going to take it some fun, funky ways, and it may change by the
it's
month.
ever evolving,
Yeah.
really.
I think I kind of told you that the last time we dropped into your gym, just because you're just kind of like starting and rising and stuff, and we're celebrating 3 years in September. But like, definitely like the first year or two, I mean, we were constantly like changing class schedules and changing, you know, how social events and change. I think you just kind of like, as your membership grows and your community grows, you kind of, because, you know, obviously, like we're talking about, like every single gym culture is different. So you kind of like, as your community grows, you kind of learn like what they want, what they gravitate towards, what they don't want. And you have to kind of like mold to them more or less. So like, you know, this is your gym and your beliefs and stuff. But yeah, just kind of like molding what they want. Because I think ultimately, like what you guys are trying to say is like, we're just trying to create these gyms as like safe spaces for people, you know, to be able to like come and work out and care about their health and hopefully have, you know, a great time and have it be like the best part of their day. And yeah, we just kind of have to like mold to that. And I think that's kind of like the hard part sometimes about being the owner of like the gyms that we're owners of, not like an LA Fitness, is like we always have to kind of like balance that business owner versus like we're all friends kind of
Peer.
yeah,
like,
we're all friends kind of thing, because obviously, you know, like this is our livelihood and stuff like that, but these people aren't just like names on a piece of paper to us. They're, you know, like our friends and our family and our best friends, and so we obviously like want to put them first and make them feel like comfortable and welcome. But at the end of the day, like we are trying to like live off of this as well. So like I think that also kind of like should, you know, come back to us from their side as far as like, you know, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this discount? Why don't you do that? It's like, because we're also trying to like
Totally, yeah.
make a living, you know, like, but we also want you to be safe here and be happy and enjoy your time here, you know. It's a very hard balance.
It's a balance. You have to be malleable, and you're describing that, and my brain always goes to visuals, and I guess I see like a flagpole and a flag, and like you can be the flag and be malleable and adjust and move to certain suggestions and things, and then you need to also have your core principles and things you're not going to budge on, and that's like that like sturdy pole that like doesn't budge in the wind. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a pretty good analogy. Did you come up with that? That's
just
like
did right now.
fantastic.
Thank you. I'm like,
you can use it, Mike. Don't worry.
I'm like, when do I jump in? I'm like, when do I jump in? I don't want to interrupt. I'm practicing just not talking as much on the podcast episodes.
That was great.
Oh, thanks, man.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I have a question. I think we don't have much time left, but I guess what is like something that, like one thing that you think members don't think about that you know, think about a lot as a owner, or I don't know, maybe you, since you're new, like didn't even knew you needed to think about as an owner, but like, you know, something that you do as like the owner of your gym that you're just like, oh, I bet they don't even like think about the fact that I replace these markers every 6 weeks and they're just always fresh.
I'll give a shout to Alex Springer really quick, because he was like, these markers are amazing. And I was like, what?
I mean, that was just an example.
I just remembered you bought, and I was like, good to know. You just said that.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that is a tough question.
I would say, I mean, obviously, because we talk about this 24 hours a day. I think that, not in a bad way, I mean, they don't know any better, but I think some members / people think like, oh, you're just having the best time of your life because you own a gym and you're just chilling in your Viore outfits every day. Or we don't have like this specific like 9 to 5 typical schedule. I think that a lot of people naively think that. And sometimes I think that our job, you know, everybody can argue this, is even harder because there is no off switch for us. Like we talk about this 24 hours a day. Like, what could we be doing better? You know, prices, you know, bigger space. Like, this is everything you are always thinking about because it is your heart and soul and your livelihood. And I think sometimes, yeah, some people could just be like, man, you must be having the time of your life. And I'm just like, yeah, I am. But like, that doesn't mean it doesn't come with like extremely hard work.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes I just want to work out and chill and not get asked any questions. You know what I mean? I just want to go in and just like do pull-ups. I just want to hang out, and it's like, that's really great. But I'm like that really. I'm like really great. But
you're like, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I would just like to just, you know, zone out and just
turn your shoulder. They don't pick up on the body language cue.
Yeah, I feel bad about one of our coaches. Adam is also a fantastic chiropractor down the street,
Dr. Axe.
But I feel bad because he'll come into like 3 p.m. open gym and immediately somebody be like, "Can you fix this? Can you crack this?" And it's just like, dude, he just got off work. Yeah. Like he's just trying to, you know, get his workout in of the day. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's just that. For me, it's not that a particular thing that I'm doing that I want them to think about. It is exactly what you said, that every minute of every day, I'm kind of thinking about it. And so it's like, like you were saying, you do need a break from that. I'm still at the point, like 43 days in, where I'm like, yes, let's talk about it. Like we go to dinner with friends and we get drinks, and Joe's probably like, can we just not talk about the gym?
Yeah.
And people want to talk to me about that. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. Exactly. So it's like, I think I joke around, and sometimes I roll my eyes. Like if it's a good friend, I'll roll my eyes like at them. But they're like, "Did you ever think about this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." Yeah. Like no shit, Sherlock. I didn't think about having a functioning website. Like it's like, do you ever think about posting like or doing like a social event? And I'm like, no. Like
it's day 42, bro.
Yeah,
Give
exactly.
me a minute.
And it's like I appreciate the suggestions. But I think some people, like, because it's only an hour or 90 minutes of their day, and that's when they're thinking about it, it's like they assume, you know, you're only thinking about it when you're in there or when you're coaching. And that feedback's super valuable. But at the same time, sometimes I'm like, dude, like, yes, I thought about it. So
I mean, we don't need to get into, like, pet peeves because that would be a whole different
we need longer.
hour. But, yeah, I think it's just funny. Like, obviously, we love all of our members to death, but
I was just gonna say, this is shit talking in a ha-ha way, but you said it earlier that your worst day owning a gym is far superior to your best day at these other corporate companies. So this is just kind of us ha-ha bantering, like, don't get our floors dirty, but like seriously don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But we're not like, I'm gonna fucking make a voodoo doll of you and like torch you and like, no, it's not like that. But these are, I think you're essentially saying it, and we're all kind of agreeing. This could be like that fun hour break from someone else's stressful life. They get to wear the fun shoes. They get to do like power cleans. This is our 24/7. We're always talking about. We're always thinking about something. I'm like, what do I got to do today? And you're like, you need to fix this on the website. You got to do this and that. So it's like, oh, I'm coaching a little less than I was as a hustling personal trainer of 10 service hours in a row without a break back at Vision Quest and other places. But I'm doing other shit. Our bandwidth is now, again, to like use a visual if it makes sense or not, is like trying to spin a plate on one of those like sticks, but now you have multiple and you're like constantly going around trying to spin and keep them from falling over, and it's always wobbling. You're like, is it gonna crash? You're like, not today. Spin. You're like, fuck, website, and you run over there. So it's just like a mental bandwidth more than I'm gonna sit and do this one thing constantly. I'm always very curious because I'm more comfortable being direct about this than maybe Trish, but I think there's like the mission statement and your passion and your why, and then there's still the fact there's a business to run and there's numbers to this. And so one other kind of question I got, we can maybe have this be our last one, is like, what does this growth mean to all of us? You know, and how do you, and then my kind of added on question, if it goes down this road, is how do you balance the self-forgiveness of knowing like I need to make enough money to make this work in order to deliver my mission statement, which is helping the community, make an inclusive gym, bring health and wellness to like just awareness of people, you know, but like there's still numbers. There's QuickBooks, there's an accountant we have, there's, oh shit, you know, or like, yay, you know, like someone asked, how much did that new biker cost? And I was like, essentially, I did the math. It's like, it's one member's membership for 4 months and it's net zero. So that person has to first come for 4 months, and that was one bike, but then everyone gets to use and potentially thrash or not clean up. And so like you have to look at the numbers on this. And I'm more okay to kind of answer this question first, being like, I want to be one of the best gyms that provides great quality coaching, comfort of being who you are as a human being. You're always going to have someone pay attention to you. It's not just these elite athletes or whatever, but like, I'm a business owner. I need to make money to keep the doors open to do this. And so it's balancing the decision for me, at least, between like growing. I want more members, which means more humans we can be in contact with, more relationships we can build, but then also more things we can do in return to give back. Because you're not noticing us drive the red Corvette. We're not just pocketing all this, you know, we're reinvesting it.
2013 Jetta.
That's what's up. Freshly washed at Brown Bear.
Yeah.
The free wash.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, I got a coupon. So I mean, each of you maybe really quickly kind of give your perspective on that, and I think we'll log off.
I mean, I think just really quickly, I think a lot of people always talk about like numbers, like, oh, how many members you have, this and that. I don't ever really personally look at like, this is, you know, like Zen planners, like, oh, you're at blah, blah members, number disclosed. This month, like I don't really ever look at that number, because to me it matters more about like bodies in the gym, and are you actually using your membership and taking advantage of it? You know, like it doesn't matter if you have a membership if you haven't shown up in 4 or 5 months, like you're not part of the community. 100%. You know, like you're not getting any better, and so it's also not helping us. So like I think a lot of people focus on like that kind of number when it comes to growth.
This is why we're a good balance.
I don't really
I
think
always look at those
about
numbers.
that a lot. I'd rather just have the gym be full and busy 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Not us 24 hours a day be there, but
Yeah, for me it's like the consistent people showing up, and it's like their wins, right? Like,
yeah,
I got my pull up and I've been here for 3 months,
Yeah.
or my overhead position is much better, or hey, I told my friend that you guys exist and I want you to try us
Yeah.
out. Like it's that word of mouth and that growing that way.
I'm in like a pure member number
Survivor.
phase.
Don't know what your name is? Sign the contract. Let's go.
And I'm like,
I gave you a free class. You said you would sign on the top.
but I'm like very much in a every day. I open Zen Planner and I look at how many members we have, and I look at what memberships they have and what the average dollar per member is, because I'm very much in the red. And so it's like when you start, I mean, it's not like anyone starts in the black, and you know that lasts, like considering how much you invest in equipment and rent and first and last in security and all these things that cost a lot of money. It's like you just got to race to get back to black. But again, you do, like we were talking about community, it's like you can't take on someone now for the $200 that's going to cost you you know,
3 words of mouth. That's
Yeah.
actually more if you just waited 2 weeks longer.
yeah, or like that's going to cost you thousands of dollars in the future because they suck as like a person.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Zen Planner. And I'd love to actually do this again, so we can actually maybe talk about like, you know, the actual like statistics on a lot of these things. So again, I don't think maybe a lot of people are interested in them, but like it gives just more insight to. But hey, I pay, let's just even number, $200. I'm like, we don't just pocket $200. Then there's taxes on this, there's insurance on this, there's equipment on this. We probably like take home like 1947 of your membership in the grand scheme of those things. So there's, I like what everyone's kind of saying of like, you have to be aware of that. Please don't hear us say that and think that's just what we're looking at.
Yeah.
But everything you use out there, someone's owning it, and you're able to use it because they're still in business. But it's balancing the fact that like, you're a person with a name. We should know it. We're going to acknowledge you on that. This isn't LA Fitness. You get lost in the shuffle. I can kind of be like, we talk about all the time, like, did you email them? Like, they haven't been in 4 months. Like, I guess thank you for the membership, but I'd rather actually see you.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
You're managing everybody at your gym, not just your coaches. You're managing like, you know, your entire community.
Well,
And that's it. Like people contribute in unique ways, right? Like everyone brings something to the community. And if they're not in the gym, they can't do that. And it's like, I mean, you can't replace Joe at this as much as like sometimes I want Joe to go away. It's like, I can't replace him in the gym. Like he's a super valuable part of like, you know, onboarding people and making them feel welcome and all that
tank
stuff.
tops. I mean, nobody can wear those like him.
Exactly.
You know?
You'd think one of them would be throwaway after 30 years.
I kind of had this like phrase. I've had this phrase in my brain, and it's like that no one is special, but everyone has the ability and potential to do something special.
Yeah.
So I think when you don't have them here, you're missing out on potential just moment that maybe you just are witness to. But
In
if you're not-
perspective, unique perspective too, right? Like,
well, I think we're getting the very polite boot. How do y'all feel about this? I appreciate all 3 of you, but especially you two, first time coming on. Also don't know each other, interacted well. It means a lot to me, and I think it's just kind of fun to do these things from a creative outlook and hearing y'all perspective, just because we all have different inputs on that. I know we didn't quite touch on like how we survived COVID or why you started after, why we started during. If you guys had a good time, maybe we can do a part 2, but I think we covered some good stuff, and I just want to say thank you. You guys have a good time? Better than you thought? Worse than you thought?
I think it's just nice to have each other. Like, I mean, obviously you're new and starting out, but I think for the last like year plus, like we've talked about numerous things. Like you've asked us like, hey, what do you use for this? How do you do this? Because you're just starting out and opening up, and like you have kind of been that to us. Like
We
I've
just
always
messaged her like 2 days ago.
yeah,
or
I've
something.
always looked to you for like answers on what you do and how you run things, because I know you run a great gym, and I want to learn from you. So I think it's nice that we all can do this for each other and kind of like learn from each other, even though we know that like our gyms are going to be different, but we at least can like, you know, throw ideas off of each other. And
I always feel better after speaking with you about like gym stuff. It's
Like,
like
oh,
nice
you do
to
that
just
too.
like,
Woo!
it's like no one understands, you know.
We're just far enough to be supportive, but not a threat.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
you
yeah, if you're in the Central District, go visit Mike's gym. It's beautiful, and I'm sure we both wish it was as clean and untouched as.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Throw some chalk around there
can't wait to
because
look.
I don't want it to look I want it to be clean,
Yeah.
but I don't want you to be able to see the speck of chalk on the ground. You know
And
what I mean?
also,
Just dust it up a little bit.
put stuff back where you picked it up.
Yeah, if you guys, if
please.
any of our members are just like traveling around or a work meeting or whatever, it's like pop into one of our gyms. I'm sure we'll always just kind of keep the door open, especially if you kind of say, hey, I listen to this. Do you mind? I'm like, absolutely, come on in.
Yeah, come in.
So thank you all.
Back to work.
Back to work, back to all the things we're going to do. And remember, everyone listening, fitness is neat. And say I love you to someone and stay dope. All right.
Thank
Toodles.
you.
Thank you.